Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. On this page, I talk about technology, money, and hockey, also sometimes trending news. Please consider liking the video and also sharing it. liking and sharing the video does two things. Number one, it helps this content get out to more people on YouTube. And then number two, it encourages me to continue creating content that you all find interesting, useful, helpful, engaging, educational, etc. So today I wanted to do a follow-up to a story I did, a video that I did almost 2 weeks ago now on how nurses out in California were protesting the use of artificial intelligence. Those protests out in California were being driven by a nursing union, and I did a video on it. It should be one or two of the last, probably about 2 videos ago. So I wanted to do a follow up. This is actually not more nurses protesting AI, and I will change the title once this video is over. Now, the same nursing union has now expanded their protests to other cities, but in this case, they're protesting for improved staffing, but they are now calling for responsible use of artificial intelligence in hospitals, specifically in HCA hospitals, which is one of the largest health systems in the United States. I do want to say that for this video and all of my videos, number one, thoughts of my own. Okay, they don't reflect anyone but my own. Number two, also note that please don't believe everything I say. Please always do your own research and draw your own conclusions. That's why I always like to leave links to the articles I use as references in the description box, so you can go and read the article for yourself, but also to encourage you to look for other news sources beyond the ones that I share. And then number three, I'm not for or against nursing unions. I am for nurses understanding what's happening in their profession so they can prepare themselves, educate themselves, whether it's in terms of preparing for a career transition to a different type of role, preparing, looking for new positions, new jobs to take on. Just to know, I think it's really important, no matter where you're practicing nursing, to know and have a baseline understanding of what's happening in your profession, whether that's at the legislative level, at the state or federal, or in this case, what's happening in technology. Okay, so let's start with a quick short video from, I think this is from NBC, no, this is from Fox Nashville. And I'll share a video about the protests that the nurses were doing. I think the video is less than a minute and a half. Let's see, give me a moment. Okay, yes, it is sharing. Let me make this go away so y'all can see it all the way. Are. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play this video. I think it's very short. So the title of it is Nurses Protest in Nashville for Improved Staffing, Responsible Artificial Intelligence Use in HCA Hospitals. Here we go. Oh, it's an ad first. I should have played.
There were 2 guys. Neither guy wore their seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. 2 guys drove home from work. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. One guy didn't.
And new tonight, dozens of union nurses from across the country in downtown Nashville protesting. You can see.
Ooh, my apologies, you all. Oh, okay, here. All right, we'll start it over. Here we go. I'm going to reload the web page. I'll just bear with me. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right, we'll start it over. Hopefully the ad won't play again. Oh, it does, but that's okay.
There were 2 guys. Neither guy wore their seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. Two guys drove home from work. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. One guy didn't.
And new tonight, dozens of union nurses from across the country in downtown Nashville protesting. You can see outside the Frist Art Museum. They're calling for improvements at HCA hospitals. Now, HCA was co-founded here in Nashville by Dr. Thomas Frist. Those protesters showing up at the museum because there was a family event there tonight. The union nurses are currently in contract negotiations with HCA this year. They say they're pushing for safer staffing, less cuts to units and services, and responsible use of artificial intelligence in hospitals.
Safe staffing means listening to your nurses and staffing the hospital based on the care that the patients need, on the acuity level, or how sick the patients are, not by the productivity, which is what HCA uses to staff the hospital. They want to pretend that we're an assembly line, and they just want to get patients in and out.
HCA Healthcare has 184 hospitals and 2,000 other centers nationwide with 94,000 registered nurses. The Frist family is a major shareholder in HCA, one of the largest for-profit healthcare companies in the nation. Fox 17 News did reach out to HCA for a comment on the nurses' demands, but have not yet heard back.
Okay, so that is what nurses out in Tennessee were. Let's see, let's stop this sharing and reshare. So I found it interesting that the nurses were having their protest where they were calling for the use of responsible AI. And that was a few days ago. And then today I came across this article where HCA is now preparing for in Nashville, in some of their hospitals. But HCA is preparing to roll out artificial intelligence in their emergency departments. I found the timing of, what the nurses union are doing and calling for. First, they were protesting AI. That was the story earlier this month. Now they're saying they're calling for the use of responsible AI. But it's interesting because what HCA is about to do is they are about to implement generative AI for ambient clinical intelligence. So I'll read through this very short article and I'll give you some references on, if you don't know what ambient clinical intelligence is, I did some videos about it last year, but then also the use of generative AI to reduce the burden of nursing documentation. So I think what HCA is doing here with generative AI and what they're about to roll out is really interesting. And I think it's important for nurses, no matter where you're practicing, to pay attention. So this short article says HCA plans to roll out a generative AI tool across its emergency departments, according to their vendor. So last year, they started piloting a platform that uses ambient clinical documentation from this vendor and Google's generative AI to draft EHR notes for ED visits. About 80 physicians at 4 hospitals tried out the program. That's a pretty good, I feel like that's a pretty good sample size for a pilot, to have 80 providers, 80 physicians in a pilot program. And they said generally positive results. I didn't see where, at least in this article, where they reference what the data from that pilot was. There is a link here from when the pilot, when information about the pilot first came out. So now that they've done a pilot across 4 hospitals, they're now preparing to scale up this Go ED technology to 184 emergency departments in this fall. 184 emergency departments, y'all. That's a very large footprint for technology to be implemented. And so the underlying technology was built on, it said, over 10 million patient encounters at health systems such as their own, as well as Common Spirit Health, which is in Chicago. And then they go on to talk about also how HCA is preparing to transition their electronic health record to Meditech. I don't know what platform they're on now. But I wanted to share hopefully that was sharing. I just came back. Some videos and references. If you're not familiar with ambient clinical ambient ambient clinical intelligence is. What it is the ability, one way it is used, like if you have a conversation like with a patient or someone, the AI is listening in the room, and as you're just having a natural conversation with a patient, doing an assessment, doing education, etc., the artificial intelligence can write and draft your clinical notes for you, and then you as the provider, you as the nurse, you just need to go in and like edit and clean up the AI, and then it just reduces the burden of documentation. So I did a video last year about the use of ambient clinical intelligence, also using it to combat physician burnout. I also touched on it when I did a book review last year of the AI revolution in medicine using GPT-4. So the reason why I keep talking about it, for those nurses who aren't aware, is just so you know that this technology is coming, and that it can't impact how you practice. And one other thing I wanted to mention, just as a reminder, because again, I'm not for or against unions. I'm for nurses understanding what is happening in your profession, so you can prepare yourself, so you can upskill. You never know when a job opportunity is going to come, especially for nurses who are newer in the profession that really have that fresh bedside experience. Okay, like you have been at the bedside within the last 5 years, so you really understand, and you never know, you having just basic underlying understanding, not only of what's happening at the bedside, but about AI, that may take you to a new opportunity. I don't know with HAA, but maybe with another vendor or a startup or another healthcare organization. So yeah, y'all, that's it. Very quick. Just wanted to do a follow-up. Since more nursing organizations nationally are talking about the use of artificial intelligence for patient care. That's it. I'll be sure to leave a link to everything that I referenced in this video. Please, as always, research and read further for yourself, educate yourself, and for nurses, just making sure you're doing what you can to upskill and taking opportunity to be able to practice as close to the top of your license as you can, to be able to provide for yourself and your families. Y'all take care, and I'll see you in the next video.